We all know your home is probably your biggest investment, right? But what if I told you the greatest threat to it isn't some big dramatic event like a storm or a fire, but something much quieter, hiding right in your own backyard? Yeah, today we are digging deep into the super critical and honestly often overlooked world of yard drainage.
Okay, let's just jump right in with a number that should really get your attention. 60%. Nearly 60% of homeowners have to deal with some kind of water-related property damage. Just think about that for a second. That's more than half of us. And so often the problem starts with something as simple as a soggy lawn. And this is where it gets really serious. Let's talk money. The difference between prevention and repair is just staggering. Being proactive and putting in a proper drainage solution might run you a few $1,000s. But ignoring it, waiting until you have to repair a damaged foundation, we are talking $10,000, maybe a whole lot more. When you see the numbers laid out like this, it's kind of a no-brainer, isn't it? So, how do we get a handle on all this? Here's our roadmap for today. We're going to start by understanding the true cost of water damage. Then we'll get into the nitty-gritty of why your yard floods in the first place. After that, we'll explore the different solutions out there, see how the pros get the job done right, and finally, we'll talk about how you can protect your own property.
First up, let's talk about what's really at stake here. This is about so much more than just a little mud. This is about the high cost of water.
You see, a wet lawn is just the symptom. The real problem is what's happening underneath and all around it. We're talking about a direct threat to your home's foundation. We're talking about erosion that literally washes your landscaping away, kills those expensive plants you just put in, and creates the perfect breeding ground for pests like mosquitoes. It can basically make your own yard completely unusable. Okay, so we know it's a serious problem, but why does it even happen? Why does one yard turn into a swamp while the one next door is fine? Well, the answer is literally right there under our feet.
To really get our heads around this, let's use a perfect real-world example from St. Joseph, Missouri. The geology in that area creates a classic drainage challenge that, honestly, tons of people face, no matter where they live. It all starts with the topsoil. In this area, it's a type of soil called loess. Now, all you really need to know is that it's a fine, silty soil. It can be great for growing things, but the key thing to remember is what it's sitting on top of. And here he is. This is the real culprit. Underneath that nice topsoil is a dense, thick layer of clay that water can't get through. The best way to picture it? Imagine someone buried a giant bathtub under your entire lawn. Water soaks through the topsoil and then, bam, it hits that wall of clay and just stops. It's completely trapped with nowhere to go. And when all that water gets trapped, it builds up and starts to push. This pushing force has a fancy name, hydrostatic pressure. But all it really is the immense weight of all that trapped water pressing against anything in its path. And what's in its path? Your basement walls and your home's foundation. All right, so that's the science behind the problem, and it sounds kind of grim, I know. But here is the good part. This is a solvable problem. There are some incredibly effective engineered solutions out there. So let's dive into Section 3, a guide to drainage solutions. When a pro comes to your house, they have a whole toolkit of options. We're talking about things like French drains for that underground water, catch basins for surface runoff, dry wells, sump pumps, and even strategically regrading your yard. Let's break down a couple of the most common ones you'll hear about. First up is the most famous one, the French drain. This is the go-to solution for that bathtub problem we were just talking about. It's a whole system. A special pipe with holes in it, surrounded by gravel, and then wrapped in this tough fabric that lets water in but keeps all the mud and silt out. Its entire job is to capture that trapped underground water and give it a safe escape route far away from your house. So if a French drain handles the invisible water below ground, a catch basin is all about managing the gushing water you can see above ground. Think about all that water pouring out of your downspouts or sheeting across your driveway during a storm. A catch basin acts like a big drain right there on the surface, collecting that water and piping it away before it ever has a chance to soak the ground. Look, knowing the tools is one thing, but the process, the how, is what separates a solution that's going to last for decades from one that fails in a year. So let's move on to Section 4, how the professionals do it. A true professional doesn't just show up with a trencher and start digging. They follow a strict, methodical process. It starts with a thorough site assessment. From there, they create a custom system design.
Then comes the professional installation, and finally, a plan for any long-term maintenance.
And this quote right here is absolutely crucial. It says that professional contractors invest time in the diagnostic phase, which virtually guarantees success. What that means is the most important work happens before anyone picks up a shovel. Understanding your specific soil, the slopes, the water sources, that is what makes a project successful. And, quality is all in the details. A pro is going to use laser levels to make sure that pipe has the absolute perfect downward slope so gravity can do its job. They'll wrap the drain in that special fabric to prevent clogs. They'll use high-quality materials that won't get crushed underground. These are the little things that separate a good job from a bad one. Okay, we've covered the problem, the science, the tools, and the process. Now for our final section, and this one is all about empowering you. It's Section 5, protecting your property. This all leads to the big question, right? How do you actually find the right person for the job? How do you avoid the contractors who are just going to propose some generic cookie-cutter solution that might not even work? All right, here's your checklist. These are the non-negotiables. You have to verify they have the proper licenses. You must confirm they have current liability and workers' comp insurance. That is to protect you. Ask for references from similar, recent projects, and then actually call them. And please, never, ever move forward without a detailed written estimate. But look, choosing a contractor isn't just about checking off boxes. You need to interview them. So what are the key questions you absolutely should be asking? Arm yourself with these. Ask them point blank. What is your assessment process? Why is this the right solution for my specific property? What's the project timeline? What exactly does the warranty cover? And what maintenance, if any, is required from me? Believe me, their answers will tell you everything you need to know about who you're dealing with. So, we'll leave you with this one final thought. The next time it rains, I want you to take a look outside. Watch where the water goes. But more importantly, watch where it stays. Because the biggest threat to your biggest investment might just be hiding there, in plain sight.